Hi, welcome to my first video. Here I'm going to paint a daylily. At the moment I'm blocking in the background with acrylic paint so I can get a feel for the colours and get a general idea of where it is I'm going to go with this painting. So I've blocked in all the leaves now, the kind of blade-like leaves that are prevalent with daylilies. Now I'm blocking in the centre of the piece, putting in some basic colours. So I've got some reds going down now and I've got some yellows in just to get an idea of basic colour scheme that I want to use with this. When I'm finished with the blocking in, I'm going to start overlaying with some oils, and here I go now with some cadmium yellow and a bit of lemon yellow. Now next bit I'm going to put in some cad red and a bit of white to make a kind of hot pink, and that's going to be the basis for the kind of overall colour of the flower, which is a kind of hot pink, sort of orangey red. Now I'm going in with this with a lot of liquid, so that I'm allowing the colour that's underneath to come through and give the overall colour, which will be a sort of muted pink when it's finished. Now here I'm going in with a thick brush here just to lay in some colour, get an idea of what's going on, get a shape going for the petals as well here, and then get an overall idea of where I'm going with colour schemes. As you can see, there's no details coming in at all at the moment. I'm just getting in the colour, trying to get some shapes going, get a feel for the general flower as I go through. Okay, now I'm coming in with a rigger brush. It's traditionally a watercolour brush, but I find that they're exceptional for high detail if you need that in oil paint. So it's loaded with a lot of liquid, and I'm using just cadmium red now so that I'm painting in the veins for each petal. And what I like to do is I kind of roll it between my thumb and forefinger, as you see I'm doing here, and what this does is it creates a kind of glaze, but then when you're rolling the brush it loads all the pigment in that area, so you get a solid line alongside a glaze essentially. And I feel this gives me a much finer line than if I try and do it with the point of the brush, the tip of the brush, which for me at least 9 times out of 10 I end up getting it wrong, a bit of a splodge occurs, this kind of stuff, so I get a bit more detail with that. So here I'm carrying on with some more details then with the veins, and I'm trying to get a kind of appearance of shadow with this as well, because at this point that part of the petal is curling over. And same here with the curling over the petal there, just get a bit of shadow going in. Continuing with some veins there, using that technique I told you about, rolling the brush between my thumb and forefinger. I'm adding some more shadows in here as well. I'm getting a kind of depth. I'm trying to create some depth to show that the leaves have a depth to them and a kind of 3D quality. Some more veins going in here. Now once I've done putting the veins in, I'm going to start going back to adding some more body colours, but I want to get some depth going in, and as I say, and get the shadows, get the idea that these petals are actually curling in on themselves, because even though they're quite strong, they do have a very kind of natural curling quality, which I think is fantastic. Just putting in some details here, the kind of, it's not so much pollen, it's more like kind of almost defects on the petal itself, some small spots and splodges and things, just to give it a bit more character. So I'm running in here with a bit more shading as well. The centre here, there's a kind of a greenish area I wanted to capture. This is kind of a sort of shadow, but also it's the very centre of the petal, so they are a bit green at the very centre. I put the stamens in here as well, just real quick, and that was a bit of alizarin crimson and some phthalo blue mixed together, just to give me a nice deep purple there. And then I used cad yellow again, sorry, for the stems of the stamens. A little bit of lemon yellow and white for a highlight. I'm adding the lemon yellow and highlights now as well, just to pick up that centre bit and make that sort of highlights. And I'll paint a few of these on the actual petals themselves. I won't use pure white until the very end of the piece, and even then I may not use pure white because it's just a bit too much. Try and deaden it with a little bit of cad red or maybe a little bit of lemon yellow. So I'm putting in a bit more colours here because it's looking a little bit too uniform as a pink, and I want to kind of bring up a bit more of the red, emphasize a bit more the shading and sort of difference between the yellow and the pink here. So I've gone bold now and come in with some shadow. This looks weird, but I will blend it. This is still wet and wet, by the way. I'm not using any kind of other techniques with this stuff, so all the paint is wet as I'm coming in with this. And what I find when I'm painting wet and wet, I will always use liquid on top, because the liquid will help you to kind of get a nice malleability in the oil paint, but also drying time is much better as well. So here I'm finishing the bottom petal, which I haven't touched at all yet. I'm adding some more shading in here, make this a bit more dark. So you see a bit of depth there, you see that petal's curled around a bit. This one is more flat, but it has a curling at the bottom of it. I'm deepening the orange a bit as well. Again, it looks orange, but it's cad yellow. So cad yellow, or cadmium yellow, I use quite a lot. Very strong pigment, but lovely colour. So I'm highlighting with some lemon yellow there and a bit of white. And I've got the structure of the petals, I think, quite fine here. I'm just going to add some highlights now to kind of finish things off a little bit. And then I'll start adding a bit of detail toward the end. And then when I'm happy with that, it'll be finished. So coming up towards the detailing stage now, I'm going to start adding some highlights. As I said, I'm not going to use pure white. It looks pure white, but it's not. It's a bit of white with a bit of cadmium red. And I'm going to add that in and just gently twirl that in as I'm doing with the thumb and forefinger technique again, because I really want sort of sharp highlights, but not too much. I just want to kind of create that 3D effect, that idea that these are the very, very tips of the petal, a very thin tip of the petal there with the white that I'm highlighting in. And there we have it, Daylily. Thanks for watching.